My name is Gary. I'm wanting to inspire people to grow stuff, and I thought before I start these videos to guide you and to inspire you, it was probably right that I told you a bit about myself, a bit about my story, how I came to be here with my family, to give you some context about why I'm doing this, and for you to really understand me and us a bit more. So I'm not going to give you a whole long life story. I'm just going to take you back a couple of years. So 2 years ago, we lived in North Norfolk in a town called Cromer, and we'd been living in the UK for about 10 years. Previously, we'd moved about a bit and lived in Riga and then moved back to the UK and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, we've been there about 10 years. We lived in Cromer. And frequently, my wife came back to visit her parents. And in February, just over 2 years ago, she came back. And during that time, her father had a fall, broke a hip, and it necessitated her to stay here and care for him with my daughter. So I was back in the UK in Cromer, and we didn't know whether this was going to be a long-term thing, a short-term thing. So it was better that I stayed there in the UK and my wife and daughter stayed here and settled into life here a bit. This kind of dragged on throughout spring and the summer, and obviously I came over here and visited and went back. And eventually it got to a point where we had to make a decision that it was probably better that I would pack up our stuff and move over here and start a new life here together so that we could be together, because we'd been apart by that time, or by the time certainly I got here, about 10 months. Now, during this time, I guess there was always going to be a sense that this might happen. So it made sense for me to prepare for the outcome. And of course, if it didn't happen, then no harm done. And what did I mean by that preparation? Well, I was under sort of no illusion that this was going to be a radical change of scenery, lifestyle, situation. We were moving from essentially, I had my own business where I worked behind a desk, and this was going to be living in the countryside, and we were going to, I knew that there was a lot of self-sustainability here, and there were a lot of, I knew that there were a lot of skills which were either dormant in me or I didn't possess, which I would need here. And I knew that I didn't have those skills, but I had a sense of where I might get them. And so what I did was I turned to YouTube. Now, what is interesting is that prior to this, I had been teaching people and businesses to use YouTube and utilize YouTube and to share their expertise and demonstrate their expertise for others to learn and perhaps realise that they needed that person who was utilising their expertise. And so I then realised that I could then turn to this source and find that expertise and study and learn and pick up these key life skills. And so that's what I did. And I spent hours and hours and hours watching YouTube videos of people who had been through a similar situation. They'd made it work, and they had grown stuff, and they had built stuff, and And I watched these for hours on end, every waking hour. And sometimes I got 3 or 4 hours sleep every night, watching these videos, stuffing my brain full of this knowledge, and making decisions and being wise and sage and sort of assessing, well, that seems to work well, that doesn't seem to work well, we could do this, we could do that. This seems to be a good way to grow vegetables, this doesn't seem to be a good way. And this is how people have utilised the natural resources around them to their advantage. This is how people have got alongside nature and making it work with nature. And I'd learned all this stuff about growing and permaculture and back to Eden gardening and things like that. And so I was then using wisdom to gain knowledge and appropriate knowledge so that I could apply it. So that was what I was doing in my spare time, I suppose. In my other time, I was the president of the Chamber of Trade in Cromer. I had a kind of high-profile civic role, I suppose. I was also a local councillor, and I was very well entrenched in the community and helping them to improve their business life and improve the economic offering of our town. So that was obviously quite a big undertaking as well. On top of that, I was heavily involved in our local parish church. I was a worship band leader there, and I headed up a, shall we say, charismatic contemporary band that played in the evening, and I play guitar and I play other bits and pieces, and I'm fairly musical and play a lot of stuff by ear as well. And I had the opportunity to work with some fantastic people who I hoped I inspired, and they certainly inspired me, and maybe I didn't tell them that, so I'm telling you that now. And so that was a big part of my life as well. My faith is a very important part of me and who I am, and how I respond to things in the world. And so we were a big part of that church, a big part of the community. That's one of the things that we really loved about Cromer, is how sort of tightly knitted the community was, including the church and the parish church and other churches, and working together, and all the businesses and everything was kind of centric. That's the way that sort of Cromer works. You can see a bit about Cromer in another video that I made about my journey coming here. So a huge upheaval to leave that all behind fairly quickly, with about a month's notice, pack everything up and come over here. And I guess in retrospect, what I had there was purpose, and what I was going to struggle to find here, or re-find, I guess, is a fresh purpose. So anyway, that's kind of, I guess, the backstory to how we came to be here. And here is this wonderful homestead in the middle of, well, it's not really the middle of Latvia, it's North Latvia. We are approximately 40 kilometres from the Estonian border. For gardening people, we are sort of zone 5-6. For UK people who don't understand zones, you are probably zone 7 or 8. So we're a lot further north. We experience much colder winters and much shorter seasons, proper seasons, you might say. Thinking about purpose, what is my purpose? Well, I think in looking back, I've always been a giver. I've wanted to give to my community. I took on those civic roles. I've given to the church and used my musical giftings, I suppose, to build up the body of the church. And what I've been searching of something that I can give, and I think now is a really great time that I can give my story and my journey of learning to grow and share that with you. There's plenty of experts out there on YouTube that you can tune into, but I've always found personally that I gained a lot more wisdom by following people's journeys and their struggles and what works and what doesn't work, and combining that with some expert wisdom as well. So that's kind of what I want to do, really. And during this very strange time of what's going on in the world, I think it's a really great opportunity to pick up some life skills and to learn to grow, and learn to grow some food for yourself. I don't think you're going to be completely self-sustainable, but if you can grow some food, if you can turn over some of your garden to grow stuff, that would be a really good life skill to learn, because like me, you don't know how your life may change in the future, and you may suddenly need those life skills. We don't know what the future holds for the world, and so those key skills may be useful for adaptability. Like I say, I'm not trying to be another expert. I'm just trying to share my journey and my story, and I want to encourage you to come along with that, come along with me, and be part of that journey. What else am I trying to do? I'm trying to adapt further. I'm trying to learn as I go along. As you'll see in other videos, I've made a lot of changes to the way that we grow stuff. I won't kid you, we became excellent at growing weeds last year, utilising a system which has been here for donkey's years. That didn't make a lot of sense to me. I want us to have fun as well on this journey. It's life. We're doing life here now, and it has to be fun. It has to be enjoyable. Yes, there's going to be some struggles, and yes, there has been some struggles. Adapting comes with struggles, but you persevere and you work through them. And I think finally, I want to inspire people. I hope that I have inspired people throughout my life. I would never consider myself to be a great inspiration, but inspiration can be distributed in little dollops and drops here and there. And I think with this growing stuff, I want to inspire people to also have a go. And I want people to realise the joy of growing as well. It's not just about providing calories for you to live. Yes, that's a huge part of it, if I'm honest, particularly when thinking about the context of what's going on at the moment. But also there's a great joy and element of well-being in growing stuff and pottering about in the garden and the fresh air, and there's the exercise as well. And so it's great for you to be part of that. And I think that's, I want to inspire you to be part of that as well. I want to show you how actually easy it is to grow stuff, as well as thinking about the difficulties. But yeah, inspiration will be a really important part of what I want to achieve through these videos that I make for this growing course. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope I've not rambled on for too long, and I hope you'll be part of what I'm doing here. And so please give me a thumbs up on the video, leave a comment, and agree or disagree with what I've said, and please subscribe to the channel as well, and follow what we're doing. And there'll be lots of other videos as well, not just about the growing. If you look back at the other videos that I've done, you'll see that's the case. So thanks for watching. Like I say, hit thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next video.